my name is Charlotte, and the poem I'll be presenting to you today is titled, Perhaps This Is Goodbye. Libraries always seem to remind me of you, old friend, and how you could never comprehend how bookstores were any different, let alone better for that matter. In retrospect, ironic really for someone who took so much and gave so little. Perhaps that was my first mistake. For someone who never bothered with semantics, your lexicon of adoration never failed to draw me into dedication, rife with desperation, shaky declarations. Someday was one of our favourite words, along with should and could and would and maybe. Perhaps that was your downfall. Bestseller lists would have nothing on us genre-defying lot. What felt like a fantasy turned unsolved mystery, tragedy, comedy, took on past tense, a recipe for shattered souls and crushed consciences, illustrated in the innocent pastels of blurred chalk and grainy crayon. Perhaps that was our undoing. Like a collection of short stories, typewritten words etched onto crisp ivory pages, ours never made it to the end of the plot. But I'll remember the pages you were on, and perhaps one day, sometime, somewhere, someplace, reread without hesitation the chapters you graced. But it wouldn't matter even if you read it backwards, because it started the way it ended. Two strangers, whispered words, and second glances. Well then, I guess this is goodbye.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shilpa Dikshit, and today I'm presenting a poem called Bury Your Bruises in response to the poem written by Elegy to the Living by Felix Leung. This poem is dedicated to, well, those who are living, also known as those who die 10,000 times over every day but have to wake up the next day as well. Calloused knees scrape against rough pavement as aching bones watch the sunset blossom. The end of an age unfolds before stinging eyes, its skies streaked with smeared hues of bruised blues. Roses drip in red, bloody sunsets of scarlet. Picturesque, grotesque. Seeing the world at its knees, steps stumble into a steep fall. The sky seems to rip itself apart with each sunrise, patching up the silence of the night with raw, watery grays. Living, walking dead, just hollow husks, shallow shells, peeling and burlesque. While trudging along the well-rod road, the violent flames of desolation lick against yearning fingertips, leaving them charred and for the dead. Shattered dreams line the streets with no one to bury them, because naivety is paid in wages of headaches and heartbreak. Fiction, bred and fed, only bring us false glories. Dreams are just lace, sprayed with mace. When time and tide waits for none, the race must continue on. When the weight of the world falls on you, its burdens will shred your muscles to fibers. When tension thickens, but little oxygen left in your lungs will be beaten right from you. When you're down to your last ragged breath, how do you gasp for more? At least the dead can sleep in a war.
This poem is in response to Jasmine Go's poem, This Garden. I was intrigued by how she used flowers as a symbol for guilt and healing, and I tried to interpret this within my own poem. This poem is for people who are going through loss, or feel distance and separation between other people. I'm sorry that I haven't returned in a while. The weeds have flourished, obscuring your name engraved into the stone. Lilies hunch placidly in the dying sunset, petals withered brown from months without replacement. They were your favorite. I'm sorry, they are your favorite. The thought is a regular occurrence, that all the humane things about you were confined to your body. The touch of your calloused hands, the chestnut of your iris, cobwebs of veins and arteries intricately designed, now buried 6 feet under hardened soil. And when I remember, I spiral and spiral and spiral into the grief that enslaved me for so long, the shackles of bone shards confining me inside my consciousness. Days turned into weeks, turned into months, as I walked the barren landscape of my mind. The sunlight touched the cracked dirt with nothing but the occasional oak. But the nights were crawling with monsters, grotesque hands tearing through that earth with rotting flesh, flashing the white of bone. Your hands, threatening to tear me down to whatever hell lay below. After a while, they dissipated. I can't say what it was that frightened them away, but I think it was time. The survivor's guilt began to fade with the steady tick, tick, tick of the clock. The little red one, beside my bed. I picked it up one day, the clock, and threw it at the wall. Sick of the monotonous ringing, I slammed it with my fists until the ground was speckled with blood and glass. Some days I felt like I would take a bullet for you. Other days I felt like it was you behind the trigger. I think the reason I've come here less is not because I've ceased to yearn for times that you were here. No, the grief clings to me like those rotting hands, threatening to drown me in the shifting earth. I think it's because I've begun to heal. I've begun to perceive you as more than the vessel that stored your person. I see you as more than the memories we could have had, but the ones that we shared. I see you as the ideas you had, rather than the ideas that you could have created. Who you are, rather than who you could be. The lilies will be here, even when I'm not. Fresh or decayed, it doesn't matter. Because it's not about the withering, rotten ugliness they expel, but rather what beauty they once beheld. Thank you.